there's some pretty big reveals with this one, so we'll go ahead and we'll watch it. I didn't know why it got so popular or what it was, but we're going to take a look at it.
Tonight, our exclusive look into Doge. Elon Musk was nice enough to invite us into the Eisenhower building last night to sit in on his weekly 10 p.m. Doge meeting. Yeah, they usually meet at 10 o'clock. I'm almost in bed.
Why is this surprising? Like, yeah, these are gamer hours. 10 o'clock is like 3 p.m.
By then, we met the whole crew, even big balls, and they showed us how Doge really gets done. We sat back, listened, and we learned a lot, and we hope you do too. Here's part one of our exclusive interview. Elon, thank you so much for bringing us into the meeting here. I'm going to do something no anchor ever does. I'm not going to talk.
What?
For as long as possible.
You're talking right now.
I'm going to let you run your meeting, and then I'll interrupt when I'm bored. So take it away.
Okay.
So, like a board meeting.
Like a board meeting. Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, keep in mind, this in part two, it is a table full of all guys, and they made a dick joke and a reference to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We are back on a level that I don't know if we've ever been back at before.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we normally go around the table, say what do we get done this week?
Seems pretty simple.
Sure. No, we start with you.
Sure. So actually, a lot of great work at the Treasury this week. One of the crazy things with regards to the Treasury is that when a payment is made, and the computers at the Treasury actually pay about $5 trillion per year, like crazy amounts, there was formerly not a budget code on there. So if a payment was made, you didn't know actually what it was for. It could have been for anything.
Yeah.
There was a $4 billion COVID fund in the Department of Education, and there was no receipts required, so people could just draw down on it. And when people looked into it, this wasn't us, this was before us, they found that money was being used to rent out Caesar's Palace for parties, rent out stadiums.
Of course. I couldn't make this shit up. No, it's the federal government.
Etc. And so the one change that Doge made with the Department of Education is we had the simple requirement that if you draw down money, you must first upload a receipt. That was the only change that was made. You must upload your receipt. And upon doing so,
Yes.
nobody drew down any money anymore.
If you take the money, you have to show where it's going. Whoa! Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Crazy how that works? That was easy. Damn.
But we didn't say that we'd check the receipt. You could send a fake receipt. You could send a picture of your dog. Anything. Anything.
Just an image file.
But as soon as we asked for anything at all, suddenly the requests were like, oh, we don't need it anymore. Huh, that's interesting.
They were renting Caesar's Palace.
It's not interesting. It's obvious.
Yes, they were like basically partying on the taxpayer money.
Stadiums.
Yes.
Who? Caesar's Palace has to have transactions. They have to have received money. It had to have been by a person. They need to check IDs because it's probably a casino. Let's find out who it is. And then we put him in jail. It's simple. Step one, you figure it out. Step two, put him in jail. Problem solved. It's easy. It's a shell company. It doesn't matter if it's a shell company. A person still has to come into that building. The person that came into that building is probably a government employee. Or they know a government employee. Figure out who that is. The shell company idea, how long do you think it would take these these gamers to figure out the shell company thing? How long do you think it would really take them? About 7 to 12 minutes. So shell companies, I know about this. It only makes the process harder to find. It's not like it's impossible. It just takes longer.
Leasing stadiums.
Leasing stadiums.
For what?
For parties, basically.
For parties.
Yes.
That's a big party.
It's a big party.
You'd think if you were stealing,
That's a
you'd
lot of illegal immigrants.
start small.
They do start small.
They did.
But
50
then
years ago.
what happens is over the years, so generally the fraud starts out small and they
Yep.
try to hide it. But then year after year, if nobody stops the fraud,
See,
it gets
because this is what drug dealers do. I've had so many friends that do this exact thing. They play it safe, they play it clean, they stay inside the boundaries, and then as soon as they start going outside of their box, now they're taking a 3-year vacation. Yep.
more and more brazen, and every year it gets bigger until they're literally renting out stadiums. What's
that, $1 million to rent out a stadium?
Fraud
That's a lot of money.
delicto, okay? We're talking at scale.
This is driving me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
When you find these things, do you guys get mad? Or do you like, yes, I got one? How does it make you feel?
It's so common.
It's so common. I mean, you just get
so numb to it.
Unfortunately,
They
you
don't even care anymore. It's like, oh, wow, we saved another $1 billion. Okay, well, there's another one.
Yep.
Yep.
Like the 100th time you've heard it, it's hard not to get a little numb.
Yeah.
You know, but like
How are no arrests happening? See, that's the way I feel about it. I'm very, that's the way I feel about it too.
And by the 200th time, you're like, well, okay, it's just another day at the office.
We checked, is the Small Business Administration giving loans to dead people over the age of 120? The answer was yes, and it was around $330 million in total. So
People with a birthday that could not possibly be real.
Yeah.
Meaning they're over 100, they're 115 years old or older. The oldest living American is 114. So it's safe to say if anybody is in the system
Over
as
120.
115 years or
Yeah.
older, that is fake.
So just by sharing a database and looking at social security numbers that showed that at the time of the loan, they had listed as over 115 years old, or actually under 11. We didn't even check for under 18.
Babies and dead
Under 11 years old. That's pretty clear,
Babies
right?
and dead people were getting loans.
That was
So
660.
this is the reason why they didn't want computers, because you know how fast it would take to make a computer search function that could do that? About a minute. Yeah. Less? Yeah. That's the reason why they don't like computers.
$1 million.
And also people with birth dates in the future.
What does that mean?
Well, in one, I think the birth date, I think in one case was like
Fetuses were getting
No, not
loans.
even. No, really sort of you're talking about like your great grandchildren, like with the birth date, like I think it was like 2165. So more than a century from now was the birth.
Oh, God. Jesus. Is this real? Anybody who thinks this isn't real is naive. I think that this is probably way worse. And they're showing the tip of the iceberg, but they're not talking about the really big ones, because that's one thing that they're probably like working overtime at.
Birthday.
George Jetson was getting paid.
Yes, because your birthday is in the future, like the far future, not like next year.
Right.
And this is either fraudulent or we have your birthday wrong.
It's
One of
either a
the-
typo or someone stealing.
Which is
Well,
it?
if it's 2165, that's two wrong numbers. I would understand if it was like 21 and 05, right? And it meant to be 2005. Okay, sure, right? Mistakes happen. 2165? I don't know about that.
Yes,
Right.
Yes. You should at least ask, which is it?
Do you guys feel you're getting justice and accountability?
One of the, I think, extreme examples of non-accountability in some cases is...
Yeah, no, you're not, because they're not in jail. That's exactly right. No, just tell the truth. No, we're not. How many people have we got? Nobody. Yeah, and they don't want to say that because it's gonna make make everybody sound bad, right? But no.
Has occurred at some of the small agencies.
Can you imagine like how upsetting this must be for all of the federal worker Karens that these 3 frat boys are just all of the federal government, NGO enjoyers, and they're just getting absolutely fucking roached out, man. Yeah, playing the game, getting owned by kids, yeah. And like these are these same people that like they can't figure out how a smartphone works, and they think that they're gonna figure it out over these guys. No, you're done. You're done, bro. Pack it the fuck up.
Occurred at some of the small agencies. I think the Inter-American Foundation, IAF, is one of the agencies we visited where, they get $50 million a year, congressional money, to give grants. These are things like, alpaca farming in Peru, improving
That's a real example.
Yes, that's the real description. Improving the marketability.
Alpaca farming in Peru? Where are they? Where are the alpacas? I didn't see any of them. Where the hell are they? They're in Peru? Oh, we can't even see them? Why not? Maybe they don't exist. How much of that money, here's the question. How much of that money do you think is really going to helping alpacas? I would say at best 5% of the money. Go to Peru to see them? I'd love to go to Peru, honestly.
Of peas in Guatemala.
Really?
Wait, what?
The marketability, improving
That's a real example.
Yes, that's the real description. Improving the marketability of peas in Guatemala.
The marketability of peas in Guatemala? This is like when somebody posts a picture of them getting their PhD, and somebody looks up what their PhD paper was about, and it's about like why dogs fart or something like that. Or it's like some social issue. It's like why men don't want to look you in the eyes or something. Like just some bullshit.
Really? Fruit jam. And yes.
What?
And so you might expect, in the private sector, a nonprofit to give, 80 to 90% of their money to grantees. In the case of IAF, that was 58%. So the other half goes towards management, travel.
What would it find exactly? I mean, to Ethan's exact.
So basically, they got this shit locked in where the federal government is paying for a luxury lifestyle for these roaches. That's it. Do you think some of this stuff is actually CIA black ops off the book stuff getting the money? No. I think that they probably did discover that, and they're probably not talking about it because they probably got a call. They're like, oh no, yeah, we know this looks like bullshit, but there's actually a reason, we're going to, Donald Trump will tell you and it'll be fine, right? Like, yeah, so there probably are examples of that, but they probably they're not talking about those, of course. Yeah, for sure. And like, if I was the government, if I was the CIA, that's what I would do too. Of course.
Example is that even if you agreed with supporting alpaca farmers in Peru, actually most of the money never made it out of D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Who could have guessed? Can you believe that? What? I knew it. So why are we paying taxes? So a bunch of lazy Karens that do nothing can live like they are some sort of pseudo bourgeoisie of the government. That's why. And so they can funnel money to their friends and fund luxury lifestyles.
It's going into the pockets of people in the neighborhood.
What percentage?
I didn't even get to Peru.
Right. So what percentage do you think does?
Whose pocket? How do you know? Why aren't they in jail? Why aren't they being convicted? If you know it's going into their pocket, that means that you probably pulled their tax files. Where are the charges? Come on. Come on.
Doesn't even get to the destination it's supposed to.
I believe the GAO estimate, so this is not our estimate, I believe it was
5%?
on the order of only 10 to 15 cents on the dollar actually gets to the end recipient. Whether you agree with that cause or
Bro, these alpacas are getting scammed. That's insane. Not even, yeah, the Peruvian alpacas aren't even getting the money.
not.
So they're just stealing the money before it
Yes.
even gets anywhere.
There's layers of stealing.
Somebody says the criminal prosecutions are extremely slow. Speed it up. Speed it up. Figure out why it's slow and make it faster. Yeah, I wonder why. Do you want to know why they're so slow? It's because these people create an apparatus that is so big that it constantly collapses under its own weight, so it simply cannot move. It is designed that way on purpose. Fix the system then.
So there's the first layer of stealing, second layer of stealing, third layer of stealing.
Subcontractor,
You start peeling the onion. Yeah,
subcontractor.
exactly. Contractor, subcontractor. It's like peeling an onion. And then maybe, and sometimes it's zero. Just flat, you get to the bottom of the onion, there's nothing there.
So maybe no one got a sex change in Guatemala.
No one gets any. How much money did the alpacas get? Nothing. Sometimes it's just zero. Give me a second. Oh, God. Just speed it up? Yeah, this is outrageous, man. It's crazy. Okay. This is unbelievable. What do you mean, alpacas? Yeah. What alpacas? Here, you gonna meet us at Caesar's Palace?
It's possible that no one got a sex change in Guatemala.
I overheard a contractor tell one of her colleagues to falsify billable hours by creating a PowerPoint to mask a delay in the onboarding process.
This is peak bureaucratic Karen. Like, this is it. Yes. Arrest them. Yes. Put them in jail. You want to make a PowerPoint? No. You're going to jail.
In front of me, and this is like hour zero at this agency. And so, I mean, this is just a common theme that you take a look at these contracts, you take a look at these grants, and it's veiled in noble rhetoric. You know, it's at the top level. It's like,
sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And then you actually just follow what is the what
See,
are the
this
fun-
is why I never believed that. Oh, he's shutting down cancer funding research. Oh, really? For sure. Uh-huh.
is actually doing.
Or send us a picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Send us a picture.
Yes,
of-
we need a proof of life of these alpacas. Show me their coats of fur now versus 6 months ago. I want to see the improvement. Oh, no improvement? Okay, no more money.
That request is incredibly
Show me
good.
the wool.
Like Pixar, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and it wouldn't be that hard to just, frankly, they could search for some fake pics on the internet or get AI to generate the pics, but they don't even bother doing that.
So you caught them cold billing fraud.
oh, I caught them, her advising her colleague to do this because it takes
The reason why they're not doing that is because it shows their hand. They're not going to openly commit fraud. They're going to passively take advantage to, they're not going to break another hole in the wall. They're just going to find a door that's already been left open because it's soft fraud. They don't want to commit real hard fraud.
few days to onboard. So that is being investigated.
It'd be
right
too
now.
easy to
Yeah, I
figure
mean,
out.
generally, like these programs, these grants are going to be like along the lines of save the baby pandas. And it's like, well,
Exactly. See, there it is. A bunch of populist nonsense. Let's take away the attention of the American people, make them focus on the 0.001% on the U.S. budget that went to alpaca farming, still waiting on Dogecoins to audit the Department of Defense. I think you make a great point. I think you do. But you know what I also think? I think that when you start playing Elden Ring, you don't start with Melania. You start with the Tree Sentinel, you work your way up through Margit, you kill Godric, you know, and you have to level up. The fact is that the last boss, the fucking Shadow of the Erd Tree, Consort Radon Prime, is the fucking military, okay? They've got to be locked in. Their process has to be locked in. Everything has to be perfect. So this is this is them grinding for experience, okay?
Of course, who wouldn't want to save the baby pandas?
Of course.
And you know, in some cases they've got a show panda, which they will trot out for special occasions. In a lot of cases, they don't even have a show panda.
No panda.
This is so stupid.
There's not even one panda, because we asked for pictures, and
So wait.
we don't even get one panda. And it's like, well, that's a lot. You know, what does $1 billion get you? Does it not even get you one panda?
You really want to see a baby panda?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, like, you know, like the Ebola money, we're like, okay, well, we agree with, like, we shouldn't have Ebola, you know. Where is the money going? Oh, it's going to Deloitte in DC. Like, what is an accounting firm doing with Ebola money?
What has been the biggest resistance? Is there one agency? Is there one department that when you guys walk in, they all start fighting?
Ask him. Bro, look at his head. He knows.
Walk in, they all start fighting you, start hiding
Wait, I thought
things.
you weren't going to talk.
I'm sorry.
But I guess you can answer that question. Sure. I mean, let's
See, Elon did a very, very good strategy. I do this a lot too. We're not going to say the department. Everybody in this room knows the department. But we're going to interrupt this. We're going to make it funny. Let's move on.
We've certainly had some battles.
Battles.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
who should talk about Yusuf?
Nate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jesse, there's an agency, a small agency called the United States Institute of Peace. It's definitely
They actually let him. They're actually going to let him cook. Oh boy.
the agency we had the most fight at. We actually went into the agency and found that they had loaded guns inside of their headquarters. Institute for Peace.
So the Alpaca Foundation doesn't help alpacas. The COVID Foundation pays for Sears Palace. The Panda Foundation doesn't have any pandas in it. They don't even have a show panda. And the Institute of Peace is full of a bunch of loaded guns. Oh my God. Where is this coming from?
I mean, any given company, any given organizational
Yeah.
name is going to be kind of be the opposite of the title.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was by far the least peaceful agency that we've worked with,
Yeah.
ironically.
Of course.
Additionally, we found that they were spending money on things like private jets, and they even had a $130,000 contract with a former member of the Taliban. This is real. We don't encounter that at most agencies.
Yeah.
What was
So
the,
this was the Institute of Peace had a contract with the Taliban? Huh. That's interesting. Who did that? Because I feel like what we really need them to do is we need them to call in the people that did this, record the interviews with them, and then post the interviews. You are a federal employee. You are accountable to the taxpayer. I am very much a taxpayer, and I want a little bit of accountability for this. I want to see him explain it.
money going to the Taliban for?
So it was a contractor. They received $130,000 for generic
I
services.
thought it was a Twitch streamer.
And to Elon's point, there was not actually a clear description of what the contractor services were for. But
Was it for opium
unclear.
or weapons?
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
Interesting time to interrupt them.
Or a bribe?
Or yeah, nothing.
And you naturally have to ask the question, well, how did we get here? Like when the country was founded, there were only 4 agencies.
No, he's making a joke.
Today there are
Sure.
over 400. So there's been a 100x increase in the number of agencies since the founding of the nation. And thanks to President Trump, he's now signed 2 executive orders to start to reduce the number of agencies in the government, and the Institute of Peace was one of them, which is why our team went in to try and understand what was going on. And that's when we
See,
found
this
all
is
of
the kind of stuff that like you'll read on Twitter. Trump would want to get rid of all the wars, but he got rid of the Institute of Peace. Well, what do? They give money to the Taliban? It's just so fucking... Are these guys geniuses? Yes. Bro, yeah, these guys are smart, but I don't think you even really need to be that smart to figure this out. It's easy. Come on, Asmon, are you pretending? Well, I mean, are you one of the people that believes this stuff? No. Don't you know peacekeepers are most well equipped? So I'll read your comments just for a second, okay? We got other stuff to do. Make sure we don't get a dictatorship. You keep rehiring the people you fired by mistake. Guys, Harvard, by the way, okay, so I want you to just keep this in mind. You're making fun of the intelligence of these people that are in the White House that have been personally handpicked by the richest man in the world that are working directly underneath the president's discretion. And this is a kid that got accepted into Harvard. Okay? And like, I don't know, I guess I can say this. He did it on hard mode. He's an Asian guy. Okay? That's hard mode to get accepted into a fucking university if any of the leaks are true. And you're going to go and tell me that he's the one that's dumb while you're spamming in my chat with caps lock? You're done. I don't even know what the fuck your name is, but you're done. We've had enough of you. See you tomorrow with your new account.
craziness like the
idiot.
weapons in their armory. We found the payments to the Taliban.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Try to hide the evidence.
Right, so just a few hours after we got into their headquarters, we found that their chief accountant had actually deleted over 1 terabyte of accounting records from several years. So you'd have to ask the question,
how convenient.
well, why would somebody
And
do
also,
that?
keep in mind, 1 terabyte, we're not talking about a terabyte of Call of Duty, okay? A terabyte of files, of numbers.
The Doge team, fortunately, was able to recover that data with the help of a few great employees at the Institute of Peace.
You mean, they were able to recover it by doing the easy thing that literally anybody can do by just going inside of that fucking registry thing? Like, I've done this myself. I knew how to recover files 10 years ago. Actually, you know what they probably did? Here's what they probably did. So they probably went into the recycling bin and they're like, okay, fraudulent documents. Okay, let's go ahead and restore all of these. Okay, we found them. Restore. Oh no! How did they do this?
And I think the most troubling thing was they received $55 million a year from Congress, and any money that went unspent, instead of returning that.
By the way, there are even, I don't know about now, but I know that like back in the day, in order to fully erase something off of a drive, you need specialized tools to do that. And in order to recover it, you also need a specialized tool, but both of them are available for free. Yeah, you can't a file share. No, it's more complicated than that.
Congress, they would sweep it into a private bank account, which had no congressional oversight, And that's what they would use to fund things like events at their headquarters and the private jets. And so I think it's a great example because most Americans don't know what's going on at a lot of these smaller agencies. And this is, I think, the most extreme case of some of the wasteful spend that we're finding.
So the agencies are hiding money from you. They're sending it to the Taliban. They have loaded weapons in the department buildings.
At the Institute of Peace.
At the Institute of Peace.
Yes.
This is a joke. Yep. Show is.
Right.
So this is a cover-up when you guys roll in.
This one, yes, a cover-up. Yes.
It's a cover-up.
They did delete a vast amount of financial information. That's really a definition of a cover-up.
Isn't that illegal to delete evidence?
It is.
Yes.
Shred documents?
Not only is it illegal, but it is illegal to even shred it, even if you haven't been convicted of a crime. But if you expect that you will be convicted of a crime, you can retroactively get in trouble for destroying evidence in preparation for the conviction or a warrant. And that's even outside of federal regulation. That's just on a base citizen level.
It's certainly illegal to delete accounting records that Congress would certainly want to know where the congressionally appropriated funds are going from taxpayers.
When you catch them going Hillary style on their computers, do you refer this?
No, at least Hillary Clinton figured out how to get rid of a lot of it. That's the thing, is that they're dumber than Hillary Clinton.
To the Department of Justice?
In this case, we did refer the evidence in the accounting example to the FBI and DOJ, and we were proud to do that. So yes, we did.
Resistance has shown up in some very surprising places. So for example, the famous fork in the road email, the deferred resignation program. So this was a program where you could resign from the government, collect pay and benefits for the next 8 months. Probably the most attractive separation program ever in human history. And the resistance actually came from the outside with people saying this is a trick. And I heard somebody refer to it as an apple with a razor blade. And no, this was just a really juicy apple, caramel dipped apple. It was that good, but people were talked out of taking it. And now what started to happen is we did have about 80,000 people take it, and now those folks who did take it are on the beach or they've moved on to a new job and they're still getting paid. And so now we're starting to offer Fork 2 and Fork 3, where people can see that someone's eaten this apple and it was actually really tasty and good for them.
Is Doge just getting started?
Of course, that's what you do. Because it's easier to do that than fire them.
This is a long-term enterprise.
It's a long-term enterprise because if we take our eye off the ball, the waste and fraud will come roaring back.
They can Doge when Democrats get back in power.
Yeah.
Well, they just don't have any more elections, and that's not going to be a problem. Simple.
Yeah. Well, I think some of the things that, like, we're trying to have it be such that the funding is removed, so the grants are gone. So there's a lot of work required to restart the waste and fraud.
There's nothing that they can do to stop them from doing it again. They broke the law to do it. And they broke the law. They'll break whatever law, whatever rule that you think that you can put in there to make them not do it again. They will just ignore that rule the same as they ignored the existing rules to do what they're already doing. That's just, roaches find a way back in. Like, I tried to make sure raccoons don't get in my house. That's a lot harder than you think.
And that will at least slow it down.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page.
He's right that it'll slow it down. It won't stop it, but it will definitely slow it down.